Yachting Monthly is here on the famous Vendée Globe dock. It's early morning. We're here early because otherwise it gets really busy later on. So we're going to do a quick dock walk with Doug Dean, who's the GGR safety officer and has been looking at all the boats. So if we walk along now, Doug,
sure,
you can see
absolutely.
We'll start with Elliot's Smith's boat.
First one's Elliot.
Yeah, so he has got a Gale Force 34 cutter, second wind.
Yes. I think he's got
and yeah, he's been working pretty hard to get it ready, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's really got a lot of stuff to finish up, and I think he's in pretty good shape now. His safety inspection is all done, and there's just a few other clerical things that he's kind of waiting on to get cleaned up. But yeah, it should be no problem getting his green card.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
How do you think the boat will fare in kind of heavy weather?
Oh, I think the boat's a solid boat, yeah. I don't think there's anybody here that's got a boat that can't handle it. It's just how heavy is the weather, right? Like, I mean, you know, heavy enough weather can break all boats. So I think he'll do well if he, you know, handles the boat well. I think he'll do very well.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, Elliot only started sailing, well, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's the youngest skipper taking part.
Yeah, he's not got loads of experience, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's doing. So, yeah, so maybe experience counts in really tough situations. So hopefully he doesn't end up in one of those, or hopefully he has a little bit of luck on his side.
Yeah, I mean, he is an adventurer as well. He went backpacking when he was younger across Europe at a fairly young age.
Yeah.
So he's, you know, I think he's good for the spirit of adventure for this race.
Absolutely, and he's got a lot of confidence in his ability, and that counts for a lot.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So he knows how to be self-sufficient.
Yeah,
and that's very important as well.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to watch.
Absolutely, will be.
So we'll walk along. He's also got a hydrovane.
Yeah, it's got a hydrovane
that's self-steering.
I think
a lot of the boats have hydrovane self-steering systems, partly because it did so well in the last race. Jean-Luc had a hydrovane self-steering system.
It does
and it
very well.
Really well.
Yeah, it's like a tractor, that hydrovane. It just works all the time.
It does, you're right. So this next boat is Guy Waite's boat. It's the Tradewind 35.
Yes.
Masthead sloop. Guy has got plenty of experience when it comes to ocean racing.
Yes.
He was a first mate on a clipper race, and then he was also skipper for the last clipper race for most of the leg. And I think he's going to be in proper race mode for this
Absolutely,
race.
yes. His experience is not in question at all. I think Guy will do very well in this race.
Yeah.
I would anticipate anyway.
Yeah.
And he's very well prepared as well.
Yeah.
So.
What's interesting is that he was showing me yesterday, he's got a hydrovane and he's got a cut down, and he thinks that will really help in heavy weather, cut down the windage.
I think it will. The hydrovane as it comes is built for a bigger boat, so, you know, shortening it up on the top side and the bottom side is probably not a bad plan.
Yeah.
Really.
No, it will be interesting to see how it goes. And then here we go, this
Guy DeBoer, the American guy.
Another American, second American in the race.
Yeah.
He's busy still working on her, the Toshiba 36 cutter, Spirit.
He's got a few boxes to check still, so we'll be I'll be looking at his boat a little later this morning. And
yeah. I mean, Guy's done a lot of racing. He has sold boats. He owns a newspaper. He's a kind of jack of all trades man.
He is. He's very much a Renaissance man.
Yes, very much so. And his boat is solid wood.
Very solid boat. Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that boat being capable of going around. No question. And maybe the heavier displacement boats might fare better in heavier weather.
Might indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, they won't be as fast as the Rustler 36. And as
Probably not.
And as we saw in the 2018 race, the Rustler 36 was the boat that kind of came through.
It's true.
Top three spots, all were Rustler 36s.
Yeah, very interesting. But it'd be good if the race doesn't turn into a Rustler race, right? Like, we need some other boats in there besides
I would agree with that. It's going to be interesting because there's only 4 Rustlers taking part in this race, and the rest are just a complete cross-section of different boats.
Yeah,
and I think it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, I am as well, especially kind of Southern Indian Ocean, how they survive in that.
Absolutely, and I'm I'm curious because I have a rustler myself. and
Okay.
so
Well, of course, because you're looking at trying to compete
Yeah.
in 2026.
Yeah, was planning 22 and then had some things come up, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens in 26. But still have the boat, still making that plan.
Yeah. And you've also, well, you've got Iku Ramadan.
Yeah, Ranma's boat. Yeah.
Ranma's boat,
That
yep.
used to be Lionel Renier's boat.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It's got a pedigree.
It's got a pedigree. I met the boat first in I think 2016, so didn't even know what he was doing with the boat when I first stepped aboard and found out on my way back to the United States on the airplane. Oh yeah, that's that thing I read about when I was 10. So yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of come first full circle for me. So we'll see what happens in 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. And walking along, and this is Ertan Pescados's
Yes.
Rustler 36 Lazy Otter, and of
Yes,
course
another-
Ertan entered the last race
Uh-huh.
and stopped a couple of days afterwards because he
Yes,
struggled with the isolation and missing his family.
he did. Yes.
But
And,
since then, he's gone on to do a lot of offshore sailing.
Mm-hmm.
He took part in the kind of No Star
Yes.
and experienced a knockdown, and it really kind of, you can see the changes to the boat that he's made as a
Yes.
result of that.
Yes, absolutely.
Kind of the little dodger there at the top to keep
Mm-hmm.
him nice and protected.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see how he performs this time.
Oh, absolutely, it will be, and I think he's got a lot more solid mindset for this kind of race coming up. Yeah, I think he's worked on that quite a bit. I think there's not a question about his boat being prepared. That's not an issue, but I think psychologically he's in a lot better spot.
Yeah, and this
to
race
undertake
is about psychology as well as
Yes,
about preparation.
absolutely,
It's
yeah.
about being mentally prepared to
That's-
take on what you're
yeah,
taking on.
Absolutely, I think that's half the race almost.
Yeah.
You can do all you can do to get the boat ready, but you got to have kind of a proper mindset to undertake this kind of a thing as well.
And I'm guessing you're seeing that as you're going around and inspecting the boats, how well,
Yeah,
mentally
absolutely.
these skippers
Yeah,
are prepared.
that's a very interesting thing for me because I get a bit of insight to where they are mentally, and some of that translates into their organization of their boat and translates into their preparedness. So yeah, that's a very interesting thing for me to see personally, you start to sort of formulate this idea of maybe or question about, does that translate to their placement in the race? So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it all goes, and if that mental preparedness, the preparedness of their boats, all that experience and preparation, how it translates to where they end up as the race progresses. So
Yeah.
we'll see if my my mental placement has anything to do, if it translates to how they end up actually. But
Yeah. And now this is the
Yeah,
first of
Arnaud.
the two French entrants in the
Yes.
race. Arnaud Gast on his Barbican 33 Mark II, which was actually designed by Maurice Griffiths
yes,
of Yachting Monthly editor fame. And it's a nice boat.
yeah, it's a nice boat. Arnaud, I'll be on Arnaud's boat at probably about 10 o'clock this morning, and we'll try to get his safety inspection cleared up, and he's got a lot of boxes to check still, so
Okay.
we'll see what happens. Our safety inspections, we have to, as per Don McIntyre, we have to have them concluded today by 2 o'clock, or they don't commence again till 10 o'clock Monday. So we'll see how the two that aren't checked off yet do. But they've been working really hard, and I think they'll get it done. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that would be good. Because
Yeah.
Arnaud actually taught himself to sail.
You did?
Yeah, and he's
self-taught,
already
absolutely.
done a couple of Atlantic crossings without an engine,
Yes.
without any electronics.
That's
So
right.
he's well versed in navigating with celestial
Yes.
navigation, and
He absolutely is. Yeah.
so it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see how he fares in the race.
It will be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how we've got another British entry. This is
Yes.
Simon Kerwins.
Yes, Simon.
Yeah,
Simon
with
is
his Biscay
also,
36 cutter Clara.
Yeah.
So Simon has got lots of race experience.
He
He's done
does,
plenty of many
yeah.
transats.
Yes.
And I think he'll be certainly in race mode.
He will be. Yep. Yeah,
For this boat.
And Simon is very well prepared. The boat's very well kitted out. very well organized, and I think his mental state is very good as well. So
yeah. Yeah, no, I looked around this boat yesterday. It's interesting that the Dodger he's got there, he wanted one that folded down to reduce windage as much as possible.
I don't think that's a bad plan. I think it's a great idea to have something that you can put down if you need to. And also, you know, he's got some curtains that zip into here, and kind of look at the zipper arrangement around the inside. And so he can build himself a little bit of a tent so he can spend some, you know, bad weather days topside, which is important to be able to, you know, it's a level of comfort to keep the spray off you and maybe a little warmth in you.
Yeah, you're going to need that.
Still be able to see what's out there and coming ahead.
Yeah.
That's very important, yeah. So yeah, I like what he's set up there on that boat. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Yeah. And then here we go, the Rustler 36 again, Ablash Tommy.
Another one.
Bayonet. Another Rustler. This was obviously Philip Pesce's boat, PRB.
Yes.
So I don't think they had to do too much to it when they got it originally.
No, originally no.
But of course, there was a slight issue in the prologue race.
Yes.
And as you can see, the bow here has had to be completely rebuilt. After colliding with a boat during the race in broad daylight.
Yes, so this is the only boat we did not inspect in the water because it was in the shed getting the entire nose done. So the mast has just gone up in the last couple of days, and everything's just been rigged in the last couple of days. But yeah, we did the safety inspection, the majority of it, when there was no nose on the boat. So they worked furiously on that, and they did a very good job with it. And I think the boat is as solid now as it was in the beginning.
Well, probably more so.
And maybe more so, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
That's true.
And of course, for Ablash Tommy, it's kind of unfinished business for him doing this race.
It's completely unfinished business, and he's very determined.
Very.
And very focused, and so I I would expect him to do well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the boat is absolutely ready to go now. They have a few things to do, but came through the safety inspection even while working on the furiously on the bow, and did very well. So yeah, there's no question that he's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I see he's made some changes from when Philip Pesce had it. He's obviously got furler in there. Pesce sailed with hanked-on sails, which is an awful lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it's probably a terrible place to plan to be, is up on the bow in heavy weather. That's especially solo sailing. And so yeah, he did make a few changes that I think were very good, but he's had kind of a narrow amount of time for all those things, so I think he's made a few sacrifices on what he could have done, but I don't think they're going to hinder his placement in this race. I think he's a definite contender.
Yeah, I would agree. He's definitely a contender.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been around the world already once.
Yeah.
He went through the dismasting in kind of southern Indian Ocean.
And a terrible injury at that.
Yeah, broke his back in several places, had to be rescued by the Indian Navy, and a French patrol boat actually went and rescued him originally and then transferred to the Indian Navy. And it's remarkable that
it's absolutely remarkable.
In the short time he's kind of bounced back and he's ready to fight again.
Yeah, from my own injury, spinal cord injury, it's just amazing that and fantastic to see him up walking around, let alone being ready to do this. So I hope he does well.
Yeah, me too.
And then right on the other side.
Other side. Yeah, another Biscay 36. Yeah. Belonging to Michael Guggenberger.
Yeah.
Who only started sailing about 10 years ago, but has got a lot of race experience.
Yes.
He has been preparing for this race for a long time. I mean, his boat's been here in the Sable alone for months.
Yes, he's been here a long time. He's been working very hard. He's another very prepared sailor, very well prepared. His inspection was we just kind of breezed through it, and he's got a great boat. So I would expect him to do well also. There's everybody in the race it's going to require just a little bit of luck at the right time. I mean,
course.
you know, preparedness and experience all count for a lot. How well the boat's prepared and all of that is very important, but it's just a big race. It's just a really big race, and you just got to have a little bit of luck some point, sometime. So hopefully they all get it when they need it, and you know, getting to the start line is winning in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And hopefully they all end up back here at some point, no matter where they place in the race or whether they finish or not.
Yeah.
That's my job, is to make sure they all come back here safe and alive. Like, that is really the thing that I always have in the back of my mind on every boat that I step onto. And sometimes that requires having a little bit of confrontation of, you know, no, I'm not bending this rule for you, or, you know, some of those kinds of things happen. But the whole idea is to make sure they come back safe and alive.
Yeah. And of course, this is the only catch in the fleet.
It is the only catch, yes, absolutely the only catch.
And it's got a pretty impressive submarine door.
It does.
In a companionway. That is
absolutely
full on.
Yes, this boat is absolutely a submarine. It's a fantastic door that he's got built in there, and the whole thing, the whole arrangement is just pretty slick looking, really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's told me he's going to actually drill a few holes in the bottom there.
Yes.
To pass the lines from his hydrovane in there, so he can kind of sit there
and run. Yes, and steer the boat.
Steer the boat by hand. I know other sailors like Tapio, he steers the boat inside his little kind of cuddy using his feet.
Yes.
Very Matizio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Michael's going to be doing that by hand, and he hopes that will kind of give him some protection.
Oh, it absolutely will, and it's very well insulated as well, so he should have a bit of warmth inside there when he gets in the cold weather. So yeah. No, it's a great idea. Like, that's a very sound addition to a boat.
Yeah, very.
Especially for this kind of a race. And more rustlers.
More rustlers.
I don't know if it was a plan to put them all in one pile or not.
So this is the Canadian, Edward Wallen. Can't pronounce his name properly.
I can't either.
Apologies,
exactly.
Edward, for that. But his boat Noah's Jest, which is a masthead sloop, Rustler 36. And again, you can see he's got a little cuddy there, so he'll be with quite a good hatch there to keep him protected from the elements.
Yeah, he's got a waterproof hatch, and I think that's a very good idea as well. Marx in the last race took a wave on board, and it kind of flooded his cockpit, or flooded the salon down below, and broke the storm boards and stuff out. So I think that's a pretty good plan to do something like that. It makes it a little more difficult to get in and out the boat.
Yeah.
You know, just to walk through the boat, but it's also a great idea to keep things watertight.
It is, because washboards might not cut it.
Absolutely, they might not work well, but yeah, great idea. See how it works out.
And Edward is very experienced. Of course, he's crossed the Atlantic 7 times solo now.
Again, not a question about his level of experience.
Yeah, I mean, he's been cruising for a very long time.
Yes.
Very, very long time.
As well.
So, we're on to the Vendée boats now.
Yeah, well, yeah. We got, from here on out, it's a mix of everything.
It is, it really is.
Boats,
including Don
580s.
McIntyre's little mini there, his little mini trekker.
And then we got an OGR boat, L'Esprit
We do.
at the end. And so, yeah, a little mix of everything from here on out.
Definitely a mix. Yeah. Right, so if we cross over, so you can see there the Swan 55 Galliana here, which is Tapio Lessons' boat for the Ocean Globe race. I was lucky enough to go sailing on her in Finland a couple of months ago. She's a beautiful boat,
it is
really
a beautiful boat. Yes.
And he's the hull was originally blue. He's given her that classic white look with the gold lines.
Yeah, it's
She's
absolutely
stunning.
Beautiful boat.
Yeah, really, really, really lovely.
And the crew is stunning as well.
They
are very well dressed.
They are. They're all, they're turned out beautifully at every event we've been to. They've looked amazing in their little blazers.
They crinkle when you walk by them. They're all ironed up and stuff.
But that's part, that's part of the discipline.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's part of also forming the basis of a team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for Tapio, they're very much a team.
Absolutely.
They really are. Everyone equal.
Yes.
So 2 girls on the team. The rest made up of men. And as far as Tapio is concerned, utterly equal across the board.
Oh, absolutely. They are.
Which
and
is
they're all equally skilled.
They really are. I mean, a lot of them come from Optimus sailing backgrounds.
Yes.
Some of them have got some offshore experience.
Yeah.
But it's a really interesting mix of crew.
It is.
And when the OGR starts in 2023, that'll be very interesting to see how they go.
That will be very interesting to do. The 2 differences in the crews on these 2 boats are vast, and so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Really interesting to see.
Yeah,
so here we go. So this is Tapio's other boat. Again, designed by Olin Stevens. Because I know he's a massive Olin Stevens fan, so he's Gaia 36.
Absolutely.
And I know that in the last race, Jean-Luc was quite tempted with the Gaia 36.
He was, he was. I think he struggled with that decision for a while before he ended up with a Rustler.
But she's quick.
It's a very quick boat. I think the bottom paint on the last go around was an issue. Like he come back with
a reef on the bottom of his boat?
A very large reef on the bottom of his boat. So, no indication how the boat's going to do this time. He's, again, very well prepared, very well experienced, and the boat's looks a bit of a mess now because they had a party the other night.
Yeah, they did.
They used the cockpit for a cooler, so they got a bit of a mess right now. But very well prepared.
Very well prepared, and of course you've got his cuddy there where he kind of steers with his feet inside.
Looks like a F-16 cockpit.
It does.
Something.
It looks very much.
Pilot.
It does.
Yeah. So, that's a very slick, very sleek looking boat.
Yeah, and again he's got 3 furlers at the front there.
Yeah.
Which makes it a bit easier for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So another boat. I hope he does very well.
Yeah, he should do well. I say 5th last time. I'm sure he's looking to better that position.
I think he'll do that.
Yeah, definitely.
A little more determination on this trip.
But it's quite nice that actually her colours match Oleana.
Absolutely.
So white hull, gold stripe.
Absolutely, yeah. A very nicely paired set of boats.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And here we are, Captain Coconut.
Yeah, Mark Sinclair.
Yeah, Mark Sinclair. Morning, Mark.
Hello.
We're just seeing
reading his book at the moment. I've got a special book here.
Good on you.
Courtesy of some famous journalist.
Well, last time you told me that you got hooked on Miss Marple BBC audiobooks.
I did.
So that's why I thought you'd like that, in case your cassette player gets smashed again while going round the horn.
Yeah.
I've got 2 cassette players. I've got a special grab bag with a cassette player in and a Men at Work tape. I'll shove this in there as well.
Yeah. Good on
So
you.
this is the Lelo 34 Coconut, and obviously the Mark Sinclair, who needs no introduction.
No, absolutely he does not.
So he only arrived in Le Sable d'Olonne kind of relatively recently, having...
Be 100 days.
100 days.
Departure date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 100 days, having completed the 2018 race. A bit 18 months late, but you still did it.
The winner of Chichester.
Yes.
When I'm defending my legacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you won the Chichester class, and for those who don't know, the Chichester class is for boats that make 1 stop, as Francis Chichester did in his circumnavigation on Gypsy Moth 4.
Yeah.
Mark is the first winner of the Chichester class, and
Yes.
So I expect in the Cape Horner's Hall of Fame a Chichester class with Captain Coconut at the top.
Brilliant.
That's what I want to see.
We'll drop that in the suggestion box.
I think if we go to Brickos, I think they've got a bit of plywood there. We should be able to knock one up by lunch.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. No problem. Yeah.
So again, we've got 2 furlers there at the front.
Yeah.
To make it a bit easier on Mark.
Yes, dodgy leg.
Yeah.
And a thing for my dodgy leg.
Yes.
So I preemptively put that in there for my dodgy leg.
Yeah, we should explain. Mark actually fell off his bike the other day, and he's still he's getting there, but he's still limping a bit.
Still gimping around a little bit. Yeah.
I've got short trousers on today.
Oh, so how bad is it,
You
Mark?
could do a comparison
Okay.
Oh, well,
of the 2 legs.
yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So-
still.
Slightly swelled
So
up,
we've got
but
a lot of swelling here.
yeah.
still,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And swelling in here.
Not as bad as it was a couple of days
that-
ago.
That's where it's really sore. just
Yeah.
There. You can just see it sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Coming along well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you.
And obviously these are Mark's 2 tyres, so Mark is a big fan, like John Sanders was a big fan of using car tyres
Yep.
for heavy weather sailing.
Yep.
that's because we're Australian and we're cheap.
Australian and you're cheap. But obviously you try one of those and it lets you, doesn't really, well, slows you down a bit, but gives you more ability
Puts
to,
my bottom towards the wind.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it's all about bottoms.
yes,
Yeah. Exactly.
brilliant.
All right,
Okay, so as we walk on the dock a bit more, see you later, Mark.
carry on.
Yes.
Thank you. And here we go. This is another British entrant, Ian Herbert Jones.
It is. Yes.
In his in his trade wind 35
yes.
puffin, and of course this used to belong to István Kopa.
It did.
He
Yes.
came
And then
fourth in the last
yes,
race.
and was still named Puffin before.
Yeah, it was.
And,
Yes, it was called Puffin.
Ian's
before.
done lots of work to this boat.
He has.
And it's probably, on the inside, looks like probably the best prepared boat of all of them. Ian's, of course, got a military background, so I would expect nothing less.
Yep.
But yes, he's done a lot of work on Puffin, and she's looking very, very ready for this race.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when István was going round, we remember he got knocked down, water flooded everywhere.
Yes, and he had some issues with his steering
Yep.
pedestal. I don't exactly know what the problem was, but he did have some issues with that
did.
caused him a delay, and so yeah, so that's all been taken care of now. So
of
yeah,
course-
he's just done tons of work on this boat.
Yeah. And of course, István had problems with mould down below.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yes.
it even affected his health.
Yes, absolutely. And that's all been addressed as
Yep.
well. So yeah, I think
And I think he had contaminated water as well. So
He
I know
did,
Ian's
yeah.
replaced the water tank.
yes. Yes.
And,
So lots of improvements, and so Puffin should do very well.
Yeah.
And hopefully Ian does very well with Puffin.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
Ian also really experienced. He's gone round the Cuppa race.
Yes.
He's gone around the world once before.
Experience is not a question for Ian either. So.
No, I know
and-
he's done a lot of offshore sailing with
Yes.
her to get her used to, get the feel of her.
Absolutely.
And again, part of this competition is about getting at one with your boat, feeling at one with your boat.
absolutely. And he spent lots of time with Puffin, so I think he should be there. I think he's definitely ready. No
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
And of course, he's got the hydrovane as well.
Yes, lots of hydrovanes.
yes.
I think that's probably a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that would that be something you consider on your Rustler?
Well, my Rustler has two self-steering wind vanes. One's a monitor, and the other one's a hydrovane.
Okay.
And I found, sailing back across the Atlantic, that the hydrovane had been around the world with Uku had a bit of wear in it and needed to be rebuilt, but it still worked fine.
Okay.
The monitor maybe worked a little better in really light winds, but I think only because the hydrovane had literally circumnavigated the world, and then I put another 6,000 miles on it going across the Atlantic. I went very far south. Took a little extra time because when I left France February 4 of 20, COVID really wasn't a thing. Maybe in China we'd heard a little bit about it on the news, but it really went global about halfway across the Atlantic for me. And so I left one world and showed up in another one. And so I thought, well, a couple more weeks at sea or something, maybe I'm safer out here and it'll all be fine. And of course, you know what happened.
Yeah.
But so that's why I put a lot of extra miles on the boat, just because that was going on
Yeah.
while I was crossing.
Okay. And then another Rustler 36.
Yep, another one.
So France's Damien Goulou. And he's on PRB.
Yes, he is.
And he's got perhaps the largest cuddy of all the boats.
He does by far.
On the dock.
He added a whole nother room to his boat with.
He really
with
has, and it's
yes.
so reminiscent of the Moka 60s.
Oh, it
kind
is.
of,
Yeah,
and the Vendée.
Absolutely is. And it's fantastic protection. It'll be interesting if windage is an issue with it.
Yeah, windage. Yeah, I wonder whether windage could be an issue. I spoke to Damien about it yesterday, and he assured me no. He said it should be fine.
I'm sure he would have some experience with that. I know he sailed the boat a lot, so.
He has, yeah. He also, I mean, he prepped PRB actually for Kevin
Yes.
Escoffier in the last one day.
He did. So he's got some experience on his side, and definitely got some solid protection there from the elements, which can be a huge benefit. It really can.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, I mean, you've got sides that come down, which is probably useful. He's got a solid door there.
Yes.
And again, another hydrovane.
Another hydrovane. Very solid door. So he's well protected for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. He's going to be definitely racing.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got lots of racing experience. He's
lots
done
of experience.
plenty of.
He's definitely here to race.
Yeah, definitely.
And whatever the motive, it takes everybody to get this race underway, and everybody needs just a little bit of luck, right?
They do.
They just do.
And how much of the fleet do you think are racing, and how much want to get round?
That is a great question. I would say maybe it's a 60-40 split, roughly. Maybe 60% are solidly here to race. And you can see that a bit in their mindset, I think, as well. That 60% has a very narrow focus and are very focused. So it's very interesting to get one-on-one with all the skippers, for 2-3 hours of time it takes to get their inspection done and look at all their kit and go over all their procedures and see their level of experience with a thing. And we ask them to get a time signal and show us that they do that. And sometimes at the particular time of day, it's really difficult to get one and maybe impossible at that particular time. But one of the things we get to see is their knowledge of using the radio to navigate around in the radio to look for the time signal and switch back and forth between channels and stations, and maybe they can't get a time signal when we ask for it, but you get an idea of how well they know how to use their equipment. So that's interesting as well, because and put them on the spot, and sometimes they're a little bit nervous, but so that comes into play. But yeah, it's interesting to see. And so 60-40 I would estimate is the split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pat Lawless. So this is the only Saga 36 in the race.
The Irish guy.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, his brother. So his brother
Yes.
Peter is currently doing a circumnavigation. He was hoping to beat Pat by becoming the first Irishman to sail non-stop around the world, but sadly for Peter that didn't go according to plan. But I know that he is setting off again. I think he's planning to circumnavigate via the Panama Canal. So that's what he's planning to do while Pat is out doing the Golden Globe race.
I didn't know they were going to overlap like that. But I did know his brother was doing that. So. And
Pat, of course, is extremely experienced fisherman, used to sailing in pretty harsh conditions.
Oh, absolutely.
Iceland.
He's maybe got some of the toughest heavy weather sailing experience. Well, maybe not all sailing on the fishing boats, but he's been in a lot of heavy weather.
He has.
Seriously heavy weather. So I don't think that's he's an issue for him at all. Like he's very comfortable in that. So I think he'll do well. Yeah.
And again, interestingly, he's gone for kind of
his Dodger
falls down to reduce windage.
We spoke a little bit about that and his plan for that. So yes, he plans to have that down quite often, actually, when he thinks wind is an issue. So so interesting. Yeah, there's interesting differences in their
just compare what fold down Dodger here and the kind of almost space-like construction. Hunt Damien's Rustler 36.
It's absolute opposites in that respect, but Pat's very ready to go as well. Yeah, safety inspection went very well.
Good.
So no issues with Pat's boat.
Okay. So as we walk down, so
there's Kirsten showing up.
Kirsten's boat. So this is Kirsten's.
Kirsten's also, I think, the only boat that has
a significant bowsprit.
A significant bowsprit,
Yeah.
and also a very, very nice figurehead on the boat. I think she's
Yes,
the only one that
very
has
nice
one.
figurehead on the boat. On her Cape George 36 cutter.
Yes.
So Kirsten Justin, again, extremely experienced, experienced in the Southern Ocean, sailed with Skip Novak.
Lots of heavy weather sailing experience.
Lots of heavy weather sailing experience.
Lots of long distance sails as well. So yeah, and Kirsten's definitely here to race.
Oh,
She's
yes.
very focused, and I anticipate she'll do extremely well.
She will, yeah. No, I think she's very, as you say, she's very, very focused on winning. She came third in the prologue race.
Yes.
So yeah, it just kind of shows that her determination.
Absolutely.
And I know that she's done a lot of work. I know COVID was a problem for her when she bought the boat.
Oh yeah,
she took it to Princess Edward Island, and she did a lot of the prep work there.
Got stuck in Canada. The boat was stuck in Canada, and she got stuck in Canada, and then she got stuck in the United States, and so yeah, she had a pretty rough time, but was able to get a lot of work done on her boat. And, yeah, I commend her for that, because she had a very difficult situation in her preparation. Did. Yeah,
but she's sailed relatively recently here, so she's crossed it. She went down to Cape Town and then came up.
She did, yeah.
So
she's got lots of miles on the boat.
She
already.
has.
Yeah.
And I know she started sailing out of Cape Town.
Yeah,
skippering boats, the Gulus current she knows well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
She knows how to handle Cape Doctors.
Yeah, and spent some time in the Southern Ocean as well, so she knows what it's all about, and yeah, I think she's going to do very well.
Yeah, I think she is as well.
I hope she does very well as the only female entrant.
Yep.
So she'll have lots of people looking out for her, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it'd be good.
And I don't think she needs it.
No, I think she's prepared and ready to go.
Absolutely, she is.
And then the last boat in the fleet, smallest boat in the fleet.
Yes, Jeremy's.
Oh, yeah, Jeremy's Oleana OE32 masthead sloop, which obviously used to belong to Arrowig from the last race, a Norwegian skipper who got knocked down just outside Cape Town, actually, and dismasted the boat.
He did,
and then sailed her hundreds of miles under jury rig into Cape Town.
Did a fantastic job of that.
Really fantastic. So obviously new mast on her.
Yeah, they've done a bit of work on this boat as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't terribly damaged from the dismasting, but it did do some damage, so they've got that all repaired. And Jeremy, again, another skipper that's very well prepared. He's definitely here to race.
Yeah.
So and very well focused. So yeah, I think he should do well.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience. I know he started racing Optimus. He represented his country racing Optimus.
Yes.
So maybe he likes the kind of smaller boat.
Yeah, the smaller boat, arguably may be a disadvantage as far as the water line and all that. Maybe a bit slower, but still, it's anybody's race, because they got to have that little bit of luck at the right time. So, very capable boat, no question. So I don't think there's any discounting him as far as the size of the boat.
No, I think he's
to the others. Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily size that matters in this race.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. Yeah.
I think it's.
If it was a speed race, a few hundred miles, that might be a different thing. But this race, it's not about that. Yeah. It's not about flat out speed. So.
No, I think it's about luck. As you say, preparedness.
A little bit of luck, preparedness, experience levels, and paying attention to the weather. It's not as easy for them to look at weather. They've got a weather fax on board, which arguably a little bit more difficult than if you had radar and all of that stuff on board. But so if they've spent some time, getting the experience using all that equipment, should be no issues getting weather reports and staying a bit safer that way.
Yeah.
That was an issue in the last race that
it was.
Didn't quite have the access to weather when they maybe needed it the most, and so the weather fax should solve that issue for them.
Yeah, should do.
And add a bit higher level of safety. So.
Well, and of course, Race HQ will radio the skippers when the weather is really bad to warn them.
Will. Yeah,
which is fair enough. These are little boats, and of course, being little boats, they're not like a Moka 60s. You can't outrun the weather.
Can't outrun stuff.
No.
You absolutely gotta try to forecast it ahead of time and do your best to avoid it. And then if if you get stuck in it, you just gotta tough it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, small boat, it's gonna get tossed around pretty badly in really tough weather, especially in that Southern Ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's
rough
interesting,
place to
as you're
be.
saying, the start and the weather that's forecast for the next week.
Yes.
It could be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Sunday when the race starts, completely benign weather, and
Yeah.
then from then on it's picking up.
Yeah, and so yeah, I would anticipate seeing maybe a few delayed starts. They have a 10-day period to from Sunday to go ahead and start. So I would anticipate to see some of the skippers not start on Sunday just because that weather that's rolling in, late Sunday, early Monday. So yeah, that'll be interesting as well. But Biscay is a tough place to be if you got the wrong wind and there's just nowhere to run. So maybe you'd save some time by staying in, and I don't know. That'll be race strategy, right? To see
It
what
will,
they do.
yeah. I mean, a couple of days when you're racing, 220
Yeah.
days, not going to make much
Yeah,
difference.
2-3
really.
days are not much difference.
No.
Yeah. So, and it'd be a shame to get damaged in the
Yep.
escape before the race really gets well underway. So we'll see what their strategies are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all going to be different.
They are.
And some that are talking about blasting through it, and others are talking about wait 2 or 3 days. So we'll see what they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be following it on Yachting Monthly. So keep
Absolutely.
tuned, and we'll keep going.
Thanks, Katie.